So I'll take one of these blanks and we'll go inside the shop and I'll illustrate how in less than 10 minutes I can make a tool that matches that curvature that I need. This is the blank that I've selected to make the curve tracing tool. This is the end as it begins. I'll use the 6-inch bench grinder and try to get the inside and outside radiuses started, cooling the tool as we go. That's just roughed out, but the inside and outside radiuses are grossly defined at this point. I'm going to use the 3-inch belt sander to refine the outer curvature a bit. Now work on the inside radius, locking blank in the vise and refining it with a mounted stone and a die grinder. The next stage is using the 1-inch belt sander with a 100 grit zirconia belt to refine it a bit more, particularly the outer edge this time. The next step is to use the silicon carbide wheel to refine the edge a bit more. The final step is to use the hard felt wheel with chromium oxide buffing compound to put a high polish on the edge. And then when you're finished, of course, you can come back to your guide or to your workpiece and check the edge and make sure that that curvature is right. Now, there's more to it than just getting the curvature of the edge correct. You also have to get the radius of the leading edge, which could be, depending on which direction you're going, both sides. Really no such thing as a trailing edge, I suppose. But if that edge is too acute, then the tool will seem to stick in the workplace and not advance. It's sort of acting more like a chisel because it doesn't have enough radius to the face. Usually you can feel that with your finger after you have a little experience, but sometimes it's pretty subtle and you just have to test it, and if it doesn't advance well, then you go back to the deburring wheel or to the hard felt wheel and dress it a little bit more, and usually after 2 or 3 attempts you can get that perfect. Some of my smaller S7 tools seem to have the tendency to skate off of the hammer face, so I took my MIG wire feed welder, welded a bead on the top of the tool, which increases the surface area and also leaves a softer steel on top, and that seemed to cure that problem. Well, as set grows in number, it becomes harder and harder to find anything you're looking for. So I've made a couple of attempts to try to solve that. First place, I color-coded the tools. All of the curved lining tools are combination orange and red, and all the straight lining tools are yellow, and the butchers are all blue, and the chisels are brown, and the flatters and fullers are green, and so forth. And then to further help out, I used a little zip cut tool, abrasive blade, and cut some notches and highlighted them with the correction pen so that each tool has a number, and that way if I've done a particular project, I can record which tools I actually used if I have to repeat that process for any reason. And then to further ease things, when I'm working on a particular piece of work like this, the actual number of tools used is going to be fairly limited. So as I use the tool and find out it's one that I want, I put it over in a separate rack of the things that I'm using right at this time. And then, of course, I have fewer and fewer things to sort through, and it makes the work a lot more efficient.